All right, so welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Excel Island. Yesterday, which was day 29 of our 100 days of Python challenge, we started a Python project called Exploring NYC Public School Test Results Scores in Python. So the goal is to use data manipulation and summary statistics in Python to analyze test scores across New York City's public school. We're actually working with a simple, very minute data set. So I'll just go ahead and start sharing my screen so you can see what we've done on day 29. So yesterday, we did a couple of analyses on the data set. We actually got connected to the data set in Python. Let me just zoom in really quick here because I was actually watching the videos. I noticed it is not really that clear. So we imported pandas. These are just basic Python stuff rather. Then we connected to the data schools.csv, which is the Excel CSV file, which I will make available in the link under the YouTube description. So if you want to get access to this data set that I'll be using in this analysis, go to the YouTube description. You're going to have access to it. So we start a couple of analysis yesterday, and we're actually using the DataCamp platform. Actually, if I go under the career track section real quick here, so we're on the challenge on the data analyst in Python career track. We're giving ourselves a 100 days period to cover all the lessons there and all the projects available in this career track. So over the past few months, I've done SQL and Power BI career track also. You can catch all of that on the live stream tab on my YouTube channel. You can have access to all of that there. So just make sure the live stream is still on. So on this project called the Exploring NYC Public School Test Results. If I view projects, we actually started yesterday and we had to actually answer 3 key questions, which we've answered one of the questions yesterday before the live stream actually got disconnected. So I just have to continue today. So the 3 key questions are finding schools with the best math score. We did that yesterday. We need to identify the top 10 performing schools. And the last question is locating the NYC borough. So borough means locations with the largest standard deviation in SAT performance. And we'll have a quick look at the data set. You can see we have the information, just the name of the school. So we have just the name of the school, the borough, that is definitely the location the school is actually located, the building code for the school. And we have to analyze these 3 key variables, these metrics, which is the average math score, the average reading score, then the average writing score. I did a whole lot of introduction on this metrics yesterday, on which is day 29. So we've answered the first key question here, you can see we actually found the school with the best math score yesterday, and this is the result we got. So the school is this Steuven Sant High School. This is the average math score, which is above the 80% mark. Let me just do a quick review. So we have to subset the data set to find the school with a math score of at least 80%. So the total score for each writing, maths, and listening skills is 800. So if you can get 80% out of it, 800, you've passed the average. So the schools that the students are way above the average. This is just the school, this few number of schools out of over 300 rows of data. If I check it real quick here, yeah, we have over 300 rows of data. So we've now subset down or filtered down to this few number of schools which fall within the range of 80%. I also did the same thing in Python in Jupyter Notebook here. You can see, so this is the code. These are just the first few basic code, and this is the line of code that gave us this actual result. So you can catch all of that on the 29 live stream where I went deeper explaining this line of code, what it is doing. So the second question is identify the top 10 performing schools. So we need to start with that. I'm going to solve this question here first. I'll just copy the code. So we actually started yesterday following the instruction, you need to understand that this is the guided project. The questions has already been provided for us. We just need to find our way to answer the questions, coming up with a bunch or line of code in Python. And of course, you need to have some basic understanding of Python. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and go to the live stream tab where we actually started from day one, where we got introduced to Python basics over and over again. We covered some basic knowledge we need to understand before you actually start coding in Python. Do you get it now? So don't get confused with all this line of code I'm writing. Or you could just go to my YouTube channel real quick. So if you go to my YouTube channel real quick, or which is right here, you can catch up from Python day one. We actually started learning Python from day one. You can see from day one here. You can see this Python day one. Real quick, what is that? Let's just refresh. So from Python day one, you can see this is from day one of Python. Yeah, this day one here, where we got introduced to Python variables. We've covered quite a lot all the way to today, this live stream that is actually happening right now. So you could just understand all the line of code that I'll be writing, or I needs to start writing. So we started from, we need to identify, so we're on the second question, which is identifying the top 10 performing schools. So the first thing we need to do is find the 10 best performing schools based on the total score across the three stat scores. So what we need to do is to add these three uh, metrics together, these three numbers, the average math score, the average reading score, the average writing score. We need to add them up together. So to do that in Python, I'm going to be creating a new column. Same thing I'm going to be doing in Excel. If I'm to do it in Excel, I'm going to create a new column, total score, and just sum these three numbers together. We're going to be doing the same thing in Python, but this time around with a bunch of code. Do you get it now? So I'm going to be doing same thing here also, but I'll replicate it here first. So let me just zoom in a little bit here also. Okay. If I reset, okay. I want to zoom in a little bit. Okay. Let's zoom out. I think this is fair enough. This 110 is okay. Yeah, this should be clear now. So we are answering the second question. We found out the first number one question yesterday on day 29. So the second question is to identify the top 10 performing school. So based on the what? Based on total score across the three star scores. So I need to add the average math score, the average reading score, and the after these schools, not the CSV. After this school variables. I need to run this code again. Let me run this line of code again. Okay, so I can always reference this school data frame. Then I'll run this code again. We are good to go. So if I come back here and try to, you can see, so I have access to this instance back. So we are trying to sum up these three cells here: average math score, average reading score, and average writing score. So actually have a column called total score. So that's what we are trying to do here. So you're going to be average reading score. The last one is average, what is the last one here? Average maths reading, then average writing. Okay. Let me make sure I have to make sure I'm spelling it correctly. Trying to reference writing. Okay. Average writing. So writing. Yeah, we're good to go. So I'm just going to close the brackets. If I run this line of code, I shouldn't get any error. We may not see the results yet, but we've actually created a new column in our data frame here, in this data frame that we have here, in this little data that we have here. So I'm going to run this line of code here again, this time around, because I've closed this since yesterday. So you just have to rerun the line of code one more time. If I run this again, I have same results. Those codes are working fine. So we want to create a new column on this our data frame here. So it's going to be added to this data frame here. So if I copy this line of code from here real quick, create a new column. So if I paste this here, I shouldn't get any error also. No error. But I can't view the results yet. If I try to view the result of schools, let's see. Let's say schools.edge. Let's say schools rather. Or if you notice, you can see that we now have a total score. You can see the new column we've created here now. We now have a total score column, which is the summation of the average maths, reading, and writing. It's going to give us this total score. So from this total score now, we can perform an analysis on that particular column, that total score column. So that's what we've just done with this simple line of code here. We created a new total score column that wasn't existing in the original school's data frame before. So let's go ahead. So the next thing we want to do now is to sort the schools by total star score in descending order. So we need to sort the data, sort schools data. We want to sort from highest to lowest. So by the highest star score, we want to sort from what? The highest star score based on this total score column from the highest to the lowest. So the bunch of code, the line of code that will do that for us should be sort schools by total sat score in descending order. In descending order. So we just say so we want to see the top 10 schools rather. So top 10, we want to see the top 10 schools. Find the 10 best performing school. I say top 10 schools. I'm going to create a new data frame called top 10 schools, which will now be equals to schools, referring these schools dot sorts underscore values. Then we need to sort by the total score column, the new total score column created. Total score column created. Then I'm going to be sorting that ascending false. The sorts method ascending equals to false. That should be all. But we only want to see the best 10, top 10. I'm going to say dots edge. So I'm not even need to put dot edge first. Let me just use this line of code to see the result we have we'll be getting first. If I copy this and try to paste it here. Now we have over 300 rows of data, but we only want to return the top 10. If I run this line of code, I see top 10 schools. If I call on top 10 schools now, top 10 underscore schools, let's see the result we have. Because we are still having over 3,000 rows of data. We only want to see, you can see the first one here is over 2,000. The total score is 2,000 or over 2,100. This one is above 2,000, slightly above 2,000. So to only see top 10, I'm going to use dots edge. I'm going to tell it to return just the first 10 record for me. Let's see. If I run these top 10 schools again, it's only the top 10 you can see. We now have only the top 10 results. You can see. So this is the solution to that aspect of code. So I can run this same code here. If I run this line of code here, and let's return. So now we don't want to return the actual just two column, which is the school name and the total score column. So in this record now, we only want to return the school name, this column, and this last column here, this total score column here. So we want to get rid of the remaining bunch of columns. Okay, so to do that, let me just do dot head here also. Dot head to have just the top 10 schools. So if I write top 10 schools here also, top 10 schools, that is going to show me top 10 schools. But I only want to return the school name and the total score here, this total score column here. So let's get rid of those other columns. So we only want to return, select only the school name. I'm just trying to describe what each line of code is doing, so that if I'm sharing this code or this file with someone, the person understand what each line of code is actually doing. Select only the school name and the total score column. Total score column for the analysis. So to do that, I'm going to say top 10 schools. Top 10 schools equals to top 10 schools. Then double brackets. Select only the school name column. School name column. Then the total score column. So let's run the result again and see. So now we've already returned just, so we use this line of code, we return just 2 columns out of the total columns. So I'm just going to copy same line of code from here. Let's try it here also. I'm going to add a line of code here. Let's run it. But I can see now we now have the school names. So these are the top 10 schools by total or SAT by the total scores. So this is what this line of code is doing. So this was pretty straightforward. It's not really that deep. We created a new total score column. We sorted by that total score column. Then we filtered to only show the 2 school column name. So let's continue. So I think we've answered the second question. Sort and limiting it. So these are the ints. So we try to avoid using the ints. So the last question is so locating the NYC borough with the largest standard deviation. So we need to perform a couple of grouping the data by borough, filtering for the largest standard deviation, renaming the columns. Okay, let's see the 3 stuff we need to do here. So let's see. Okay. So finding the total number of schools, average stats, and standard deviation of stats for the NYC borough with the largest standard deviation rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's see what we need to do here. First, we need to group the data by borough, filter for the largest standard deviation. So we need to group the data, this whole data, by this borough. So we need to summarize the data. So probably we'll be counting the total SAT score. Okay, okay, let's see. Let's come up with a solution. Okay, so question number 3. Mm, just give me a few minutes there. Hold on a few seconds. Okay, I'm back. So we're trying to solve the third question. Okay. Okay. So let's see what we need to do here. So find out the number of schools. Find out the number of schools. Okay, let's do the question again. Find out the number of schools. That's the first challenge here, the third question. The average stats, and the standard deviation of stats for NYC. That means we need to have the total stats first. Then we look for the average of their total stat. We need to count the number of schools that we have in our record and the standard deviation of stats for the NYC borough with the largest standard deviation rounded to two decimal places. We need to answer three key questions here. Okay, now we have to create a new total score column. Also, in this scenario, we need to have a total score column. Then after having the total score column, we need to group average stats. Okay, let's see. Then step 2 is to let's see. Since you've seen the total stats here, find out the number of schools, the average stats. So we need to get the average of this total score. Okay, okay. So the average should be the mean of the total stat score. So now we need to group that to get the results. Okay, let me copy this line of code here and paste it here for the third question. So question number 3 is so this question number 2 sorted out. Question number 1 sorted out. So question number 2 is to locate the NYC borough with the largest standard deviation in stat performance. Question 3 is to locate the NYC borough with the largest standard deviation in stat performance. That's question number 3. So to do this, we need to calculate the total score column like we did earlier. We have that already. Then we need to look for the average stat score and the standard deviation, and we need to count the number of schools and the average stat score. So let's do that. Okay, group the data. We need to group the data by borough, that by the school location. Then calculate the total number of schools and the average stat score, and calculate the number of schools and average stat score. So to do this, we need to say location stats or borough stats. We can use the NYC borough with the largest standard deviation. You can see the borough stats equals to schools. Need to group schools. This schools here dot group by. We need to group it by this column, by this borough column, by this column here. So we need to say group. So I need to mention the column I want to group by. Did I get that spelling pretty well? Boroughh. Boroughh, correct? Then dots aggregates. So I want to aggregate. So for this, so after group, I want to count the number of schools. Number of schools. So the aggregation I want to do is to count the number of schools. So number of schools, that should be equals to the school name, then the school name, the school name column. So the aggregation I want to have do on that school name column, I want to count the number of columns there, the number of records there. I want to count. Then followed by the average SAT score. Average SATs. That calculation we'll get that by calculating the total SAT that we created here. The total SATs. The total SATs. Total. This is total score. Okay, we call it the total score here. Total score created there. So the aggregation I want for that is average. That should be mean. So the mean should give us that calculation. Okay, so we can use mean for that calculation, the mean. Then comma, then followed by the last one is the standard deviation. We need to calculate standard deviation. So std for the SATs. That should give us. We're going to be using this total score again. Same total score. Let me just quickly copy this line of code. Then what I want is STD, standard deviation. So to calculate standard, you just use STD for that standard deviation. So then we need to round the result to 2 decimal places with the largest standard deviation rounded to 2 decimal places. So dot round, use the round method here. Round, mention number of, that should be 2. So if you run this value, if you run this line of code, we shouldn't get any error. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Data frame, okay, round. Am I not getting, I can't use, I have to use a small letter around there. But like I said, you have to be pretty careful. So Python is very case sensitive. There are some places you need to use small letter. There's some places you need to use capital letter. So let's see. Let me copy this line of code here and paste it in Jupyter Notebook here. Let's run this line of code. Okay, now let's see the results here. If I call on Borough start, let's see this Borough ROUGH underscore stats. To be stats. And so this is the result we got. So actually groups we only have just few locations. From this our result, this whole 300 rows of data, we have just summarized it by grouping based on the number of location that we have here. Now we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 schools, 5 locations, 5 schools general, but the schools have different, probably different buildings or different branches within these environments. I think they're all located in just Manhattan, this Staten Island or Bronx, and the other locations mentioned. So we just group the whole results in this summary statistics here. So we have the number of schools. These schools has over 98 schools. Brooklyn has over 100 schools. Manhattan 89 schools. And you can see the average star score and their standard deviation. Can you see that now? But we need to look for the largest. So the question says, find the number of schools, the average star score, and the standard deviation of search for the NYC borough with the largest. So the standard deviation of start for the NYC with the largest standard deviation. So we need to get out the largest standard deviation for me now. The largest should be, I think this over 230. Yeah, the largest is this 230. So we need to just pick out just this line, this row here, out of the rest. So to do that, so the largest standard deviation is going to be, so the largest STDEV is this school. We know that the largest is what? This school here, this Manhattan school here, this borough, Manhattan. So we need to get it out of these rows of data. That's what we want to do now. It's going to be equals to, we're going to reference this borough stats, this stats back. Borough stats dot sort. We need to sort values. Sort values by. We need to sort by. Sort by which column? By this stats column, this standard deviation column. STD stats. Since we want to see the highest. STD underscore stats, comma, then we need to sort in ascending. I hope you are still on live. Let me just check quickly. Oh, cool. The live is still on. Just making sure there's no disconnection. So ascending, back to here. Ascending equals to false. That is from highest to lowest. I can just say it should return dot head. It should return just one with the highest there. So you should have a result there. Let's see. Aha. If I copy this line of code here, so this should be borough with the largest standard deviation. If I come here and just paste it here, I'm going to get this line of this Manhattan out of the equation. I say largest underscore std underscore dev. It should return. You can see going to return this result for us. So that's the borough with the largest standard deviation based on the what average SAT scores and number of schools. Even though the number of schools is even lesser, I think this is the second. This is even the third number. The third borough with the highest number of schools. You get it down. But the SAT score is the average SAT score is the highest, over 1,300. That's interesting. Now let's see if we are on track. So I can just say print here or display the borough. Let's say display the The borough with the largest standard deviation, rather. Let's see. With the largest standard deviation. So I can just use print here. Print this largest standard deviation. Let's see. You can see, so we have same results here. So we are actually on track. I think we are good to go. We could just actually submit the projects and see if we nailed the whole question correctly. So these are the three key questions we need to answer. Those are the three key questions we need to answer. Number of schools, average stats, STD. Let's submit and see. The top 10 school data frame should have two columns, school name and total stats. School name and total stats. We have it here now. School name. We have to name it total stats. Oh, come on. This is just naming convention. Total what? SAT. We have school name here, okay? We just have to rename it based on the instruction. This is just based on their own. Based on the solution they've provided to check, to cross-check. Okay, let's see. The largest standard deviation is missing a column called average SAT. Okay, it is supposed to be called average SAT. Average SAT. The largest standard. This is it now. Average SAT. Average SAT. I need to write it as average SAT. Really? Okay, it's supposed to be called. Okay. Average. Okay, let me name it average AV. Average SAT. Okay, let's see. SAT. Let's submit again. Oh, come on. We have average SAT here, right? Average SAT. Data frame. Mhm. I think we're on track. I just need to rename the columns correctly for the solution to be accepted. That's all. Okay, we can just rename all the columns then. What do we call it here? Average SAT. Oh. I have to be careful here. Total score. Even though I use total score here, so that is correct. So let me just rename all the whole columns for clarity. So rename all columns just to save time. So I could just say the largest ST dev here. Largest ST dev equals to largest ST dev dot rename. So we need to rename the columns. Just rename columns equals to, I see the curly brackets here. Okay, so I want to rename the number of schools. It will still be number of schools. This number of schools here. Number of schools. Number of schools can still be renamed to same number of schools, comma, followed by the average SHC. I have the average SHC here though. I named it average SHC here. So let me just rename it for So because I named it average SAT here, average SAT should be equal to, all this is not actually necessary, but the solutions are correct. SAT, then finally let's name the STD starts to STD starts to, let's just name it same thing. Okay, STD starts equals to STD underscore start also. So this should work fine. Oh, number of schools. I'm missing something here. So there's supposed to be a space here. Oh, I'm supposed to be using equals to there. I'm supposed to be using colon here. Yeah, colon. This I'm renaming columns. It's supposed to be colon, not equals to. You can see. So I'm just renaming. So I should be using double colon here, not equals to. So let's submit and see again. This should. Oh, voila. We know this then. So that's the solution to all the codes there. Interesting. So you can see. So that is everything for this challenge. We're able to solve same scenario. We replicated same scenario here also. Let me just copy the last number of line of code here also. So if we run the same code, we should have same thing here. So voila. So that's the challenge. So all the way from connecting to the data sets, this schools.csv, or find filtering for schools where the average math score is 6 that is 80% out of the 800 mark for each for each uh for each score for each lesson. You get it now. For either maths, reading and writing, the total score is 800. They need to get 80% of 800 to actually qualify and pass the test. So we actually look for the average, the highest uh, school, the best school with the average, with the highest average math score. So you can see it here. We also look at the top 10 schools, the top 10 schools by total SAT score. We did the calculation to look for the best school with the highest average score, which is the average is in SAT score, which is this Manhattan uh, location. So that's all for this Python challenge. If you want to go further, you can also answer some key questions based on the data sets. You just need to look deeper and try to analyze probably each question you have in mind. And that will be the end of today's live stream. So if you move ahead, we should be moving to our next lesson, which is let me check. If you go on that career track real quick, by tomorrow we should be back on as we continue our lesson to the next lesson should be journey data with pandas. We are moving to journey data with pandas, which is data merging basics, merging tables with different join types, advanced merging and concatenating, merging ordered and time series data. So this will be our next course starting from day 31. Hope you enjoy this little Python project with me. If you do well to go. If you really enjoy it, do well to go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel and put on the notification bell to be the first to know whenever I continue this Python learning journey to upskill yourself in Python or drop a new content on the channel. As usual, I will see you on this next live stream, which is day 31. As we continue this learning journey. Do have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.